after a couple of tequilas, Carl, can I ask you, did OJ do it?
It's funny, man.
What kind of question is that?
I mean, you gotta ask.
And that could be an entire podcast by itself, man. Everything I am as a lawyer is in part impacted by the 9 months that I worked on that trial. 16 months on the case and 9 months on the trial. But for a young lawyer to be able to just absorb the collection of great minds working together on a single case was a fascinating experience, and one that I will take to my grave.
Welcome to this episode of Bourbon Approved, where we interview those who have been both successful at law and life. Today we have a legend, but before we get there, usually we do it over bourbon. Today we're doing it over tequila, and we have our very, very esteemed co-host, Mauro Fiore, who's going to introduce the tequila, and also our very esteemed guest.
So you mean I'm not the legend?
No.
Oh, I thought you were talking me up. Oh, Carl's the legend.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we have the legendary Carl Douglas here with us today.
Thank you so much.
And Carl, as in a departure from bourbon of proof, is a tequila drinker, so we have tequila. What tequila do we have here? We have Clase Azul, which is the brand that I think is right now very popular, everyone likes, but it was founded in Mexico by a Mexican bartender who was 23 years old. He wanted to make it truly Mexican original tequila, and every bottle's hand-painted. And what I like about him is that recently I think Bacardi offered him $1 billion for Clase Azul.
$1 billion?
Yeah, and he told him it's not for sale.
Wow.
So that's a guy who believes in his company.
I love it.
So let's have a little Clase. And then every bottle of Clase is a bell. If you know how to ring it right, let me try. Oh man.
Can't ring it right.
Can't ring it. Oh well.
You know, Mauro's never been able to ring the bell at trial either, so Carl might be able to give it a go.
Yeah,
but
give it a whirl.
Well, listen, guys.
No.
Because this is called
put it
Bourbon
on the
Proof,
ground.
I really appreciate the commitment of changing up for me.
He can't give it up. Look at this guy. Look at him.
There you go.
Aha! Finally.
There you go.
Okay. And I know Bob likes tequila, so I've drank a lot of tequila with him. Your wife's a tequila drinker.
Yeah, we have a lot of these at the home.
Yeah.
I never knew it was a bell.
Nor did I.
Yeah, now Bob for sure. Chrissy likes a little tequila. She likes that Mastro Dobel or whatever, right? That's the one
She likes Casa Dragones, and that's her jam. But this is a Reposado, right?
Yeah.
All right, Carl.
Cheers. Please.
To the legend,
Thank you so much.
and also Mauro.
I mean, that is a nice, smooth sipping tequila.
It is.
Very much so.
So, Carl, look at stop
Okay,
it
I
with this
apologize.
bell.
I apologize.
So speaking of ringing the bell, speaking of billions, Carl Douglas is the only one in the room that's had $1 billion verdict, right?
Yes, I have.
So how did this come to be? Because we'll start there. We're going to get to all the other stuff you've done of your esteem. He's the only one in the Hall of Fame for trial lawyers here. Hall of Fame.
Thank you. I'm lucky because a good friend of mine, Brian Panish, asked me to join a trial team in late 1995, representing a family that had been tragically burned because of the way that the gas tank of a 1994 Malibu was designed. The gas tank was positioned 11 inches behind the rear bumper. And on a fateful day, a family of 6 were driving. They were stopped at Vermont and some street. They were rear-ended. And the bumper penetrated the gas tank, and it started an explosion. The mother of 5 children watched one of her daughters who were so badly burned that her ears were burned off. Her right hand was burned off. She had to undergo 60 different surgeries from the Grossman Burn Center, Dr. Briones, I remember, just to try to return some level of normalcy. During the course of the trial, great lawyers Chris Bagnoli and Brian Panish, who worked the case up, found a document years before that the designers and engineers at GM knew about this issue. And rather than calculate and put on a fix that would cost $6 per car, they decided instead to pay the risks of any verdict that might come from these fire-producing vehicles. Brian and Chris brought on lawyers who were involved in the Pinto case back in the 70s. And the jury returned a verdict of $100 million in compensatory damages. And then we went to a punitive damages phase, and they returned $4.8 billion in punitive damages. I have a copy of the verdict form in my wall.
And it's great. This was 30 years ago. You remember every fact.
Absolutely. If you ever hear a jury say $4.9 billion, that is something.
Mara remembers like $11,900. You know?
Yeah.
You know, you're getting like Dordick now. You know,
What?
Stop talking about my verdicts.
Okay,
There's some good ones in there too.
There's some good ones.
For sure.
Well, Carl, congratulations on that verdict. So I'll probably finish this pour and probably a few other ones.
Absolutely.
But
You know, I have a good story. One time when I was a new lawyer, I went to the Compton courthouse, and in my department, Carl was trying the case, and I still remember it like yesterday. I went in there for a status hearing. I don't remember, maybe he'll remember this case. It was in Compton. They had on the plaintiff's side, must have been 20 lawyers. They had folding tables set up all around the courtroom. Everyone had like their own little folding table from Costco. And I was like, why did they need 20 lawyers on the plaintiff's side of this case? What was that case, Carl?
That was the trial moral that I won the Trial Lawyer of the Year award from CALA. There had been 20 workers who were working 40 feet up, creating the structure for a water treatment plant. They were using old scaffolding, and the scaffolding collapsed, and men were running for their life to try to avoid the collapse. People had their legs impaled. There were like 25 different plaintiffs. We had a joint trial. Dana Fox, I remember, was the main lawyer on behalf of the defendants. Jeff Wells brought me on. Dennis Elber, one of the main lawyers. The three of us tried the case on liability. And then after we won on liability, I was able to secure a second plaintiff for damages. There were perhaps 25 plaintiffs. Only one was Caucasian American. He was able to run from the collapse and not fall. And I was able to secure a great 7-figure verdict for him, even though he didn't fall.
Wow.
I remember that trial because Dana Fox.
I've had 4 against Dana Fox, so I'll tell you.
Told the jury in closing argument, I think you should award this lead plaintiff $8 million because that would be fair. The jury gave him $16 million. But Dana said $8 million would be fair for this man who had been impaled by the tragedy of the scaffolding. It's an amazing trial.
He tells 0 to every jury I have with him.
That was one.
Oh.
That was one where Dana took it well. I'll give him credit.
Wow. You know, so Carl, one of the a lot of people, you know, I grew up a fan of you from. I grew up in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So like we were. 1991, 92, this time, we're watching trial. This is when I was aspired to be a trial lawyer because we saw what was going on in the news. That's the only thing we saw, was the trial that was, happening at that time. And you were on the dream. You were the dream team. Mm. You were the dream team with O.J. Simpson, and that was back with Judge Ito way long. I mean, it was
Johnny
92.
Cochran and
1994, 95.
Robert Shapiro, Johnny Cochran,
Correct.
and what's the name? Kardashian.
Bob Kardashian. I was the senior lawyer in Johnny Cochran's office then, and we were fortunate to come on to represent Mr. Simpson then. It was like finishing school for me. I was 40 years old then. Wow. I've been a lawyer 15 years.
You still look 40, dude.
Thank you.
That was 30 years
30 years ago.
Crazy.
And there were some of the greatest lawyers in history together. F. Lee Bailey was my particular hero. Michael Baden is the most decorated, great forensic expert I've ever used. And for a young lawyer like me to have the occasion
You said
to
you're
sit,
40, you're young?
I was the second youngest on the team,
Wow.
so I felt young. But for a young lawyer to be able to just absorb the collection of great minds working together on a single case was a fascinating experience, and one that I will take to my grave. And everything I am as a lawyer is in part impacted by the 9 months that I worked on that trial. 16 months on the case and 9 months on the trial.
So could you pour us another one, Mara?
Please.
So were you, because I've been to the Cochran firm right outside, was it in Hancock Park at the time?
On Highland, correct.
I think it's still there.
It's still there.
Still
Wilshire
there.
Highland,
So I mean, because
correct.
we used to I was just enamored with the story, and like he was a hero of mine when I was a young trial lawyer. So we
Sure.
would go there, and I think when I became a young lawyer is when he unfortunately passed. So I knew, Carl Douglas. It didn't ring. Stop trying to ring the fucking. You're never going to ring the bell. You're never going to have $1 billion verdict.
Sucks.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. It sucks.
So, yeah, Mara. I mean, come on. But I mean, one thing I could ask you. So you probably know an ethics question. I recently had one of my clients pass away before the settlement check came in. Do I still have like the client duty?
Did they sign the release?
Yeah, they signed.
If they signed the release and the check came in, then you're good. You could deposit in your trust account. And then,
Cheers. This is another one. So, Carl, you're going to do
Please.
3 of the same pour.
Please. Cheers.
When I was a young lawyer, because I've been a lawyer a little bit longer than Bob, Johnny Cochran was still around. And Johnny Cochran was the nicest, the most classiest guy. He used to drive a red fucking Rolls Royce with white interior, Corniche. And he'd get out of that thing in the Brioni suit, alligator shoes. I mean, he was the real deal.
Yeah, I was raised in LA, and
Me too.
any black lawyer, black person who was raised in LA really came to respect Johnny Cochran. I tell my colleagues across the country that as famous as Johnny Cochran became nationwide after O.J. Simpson, he was that beloved in Los Angeles from the African American community before O.J. Simpson, because he always was at the vanguard of fighting for the rights of black and brown people against the police. In Pittsburgh, it may not be the same. Marl knows, in Los Angeles, there has historically been, throughout my entire life, man, tensions and issues of unfairness between the community and police. I dare say, Bob, you could walk down the streets of LA today, stop any black person at random, and he could tell you a story of himself, a family member, or a friend being treated unfairly by a police officer. Wow. At random. And that problem was so endemic in the 60s and the 70s when I was being raised that Johnny Cochran was always a hero to us. So when I got a chance, because I started out after law school working in the federal government, I had a job in February of my last year. That was a big deal. February, I had a job. Shit. Things were well, no stress. And I remember, man, I was hired under Jimmy Carter. Wow. And when I started working, Ronald Reagan was elected president.
You were a federal public defender,
Correct.
right?
Wow.
No, I was with the FCC because I wanted to do entertainment for LA. And the transition in 1980 from Jimmy Carter to Ronald Reagan was almost as abrupt from Obama to Trump.
Wow.
Not quite, but almost as dramatic. And after about a year, it took about a year for the Republican policies to filter down to the grunt level where I was at the FCC. And the tenor of government changed. Government was no longer good for people, it was bad. Yeah. That tenor changed. So from that, I came back to LA because I was sitting in a cubicle my first year as a lawyer, talking on the phone and not dealing with people firsthand. And that would be good as an old fuck. But as a young lawyer, I wanted to do something real. For me, being a lawyer was Perry Mason before LA Law. Yeah. And I didn't enjoy using my talent that way. So I called my professor at law school who hooked me in to the Federal Public Defender's Office in LA, Jim Dunn. He was Jim Dunn, who just died. He was the head PD then. And he hired me with no criminal experience, but with a recommendation that set me off. And from that point on, working in Johnny Cochran's office was the epitome of lawyering. And that got me on my way to where I am today. He is, next to my mother, I'll say, the greatest influence in my life.
Johnny?
Johnny was, for sure.
We met
Johnny
and did Carl's mom, because we met her mom, his mom at the Hall of Fame dinner. Mom was awesome.
My mother is the highest ranking African-American woman in the history of Toastmasters, a speaking group.
Now you know how well verbose he is.
Everything I am as a speaker, I attribute to my mother. She could today, at 90, stand up and give an impromptu speech and not say or or you know. They teach you that at Toastmasters. So everything I am, I give to her.
That's amazing. And I met his mom. So, we talk about the...
all of my TBI I attribute to my dad. He'd say, shut up, and he'd smack me. Shut the fuck up.
Says. Well, now that we know, this tequila is amazing, but with the... I know the ethics of my client passing, but, after a couple of tequilas, Carl, can I ask you, did OJ do it?
Funny, man.
What kind of question is that?
No.
You gotta ask.
And that could be an entire podcast by itself, man, because before I came on the case, I thought he did it too.
Wow.
And then I had a chance, man, to work 16 months with this motherfucker. I had a chance to sit and talk with him privately. Okay? And I had a chance to see his heart that you could only understand with that kind of a connection with a person. And I understand everybody who has the belief after watching snippets of a 9-month trial that this man killed 2 people. I will go to my grave believing 2 things. One, that the prosecution failed in their burden of proving him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. 1. And 2, that the LAPD or someone messed with the evidence to convict someone whom they thought is guilty. I'm a civil libertarian. Black jurors convict black people of murder every day in downtown Los Angeles. But if the police could get away with messing with the evidence and win against O.J. Simpson, my brothers, none of us are safe. Give me an example. Got a big ass bowl of spaghetti, okay, that you're eating.
I'm in.
Big ass bowl of spaghetti.
I'm in.
Say less.
And you're eating it, okay? You're eating it. Big ass good spaghetti. And then there's a roach in the bowl. What? There's a roach in the bowl. Now, do you keep eating that bowl of spaghetti? Or do you throw the whole bowl out?
We
Depends
probably keep eating a little, but we probably cut around it.
Well,
But
the jurors were given that same analogy. And because there were roaches, more than one, in the big-ass bowl of spaghetti, they chose to throw out the entire bowl. Not just a black juror. There was a white juror. There were Latin jurors as well. Okay. Only 12 people in America heard every question that was asked in 9 months.
But there were 12. It wasn't one of those things where it was a hung jury, nothing. It was 12.
Unanimous. 12 jurors who listened to every answer that was given. Okay? And these 12 jurors, when they were finally able to consider together the evidence, took less than 4 hours to decide.
I didn't know
Not
that.
that he wasn't innocent. Not that he was innocent.
Okay, let me ask you this. Whenever you get a quick
Please.
verdict like that, because when we get on our side, because you do a lot of criminal, civil rights stuff,
Correct.
a quick verdict when we're representing the plaintiff
bad.
is usually bad.
Bad things, correct.
On the defense, it's usually a bad thing. Usually means that they're like, you know what, guilty.
Correct.
What's in your heart when that comes out 4 hours later? You guys had to been like, this is going to take a day or two, we're good.
Listen, there was a readback.
Oh,
I was the one lawyer who was assigned jury babysitting duty. I was the manager in Johnny's office. Johnny's birthday was the first day of deliberations. He and his wife went to the wine country to hang out. Barry Scheck went back to New York. A new fellow back to New York. Everyone thought it'd be at least a couple of days and not a week. It's a 9-month trial. There was a readback. And before the readback, they stopped and they said, we don't have all the verdict forms. Okay? The clerk gives the verdict forms back to the jury room. And 9 minutes after the verdict forms, there's 3 buzzes, there's a verdict.
Wow. Your heart must have
remember. No. I would have been. Listen,
I would have been.
There was no way this jury could convict O.J. Simpson in 9 minutes. I was convinced it takes longer than that to fill out the forms if it is guilty. You got forms that lesser included. You got forms, checkbox. It takes longer than that if it's guilty, I thought. I told that to O.J. He was in the lockup pacing like a lion caged, wondering. So, I have a colorful language. Motherfucker, don't worry. There's no way they convict you in 9 minutes. Every member of the team called me at home that night, asking me to figure out, read the tea leaves. What does it mean, Carl? What does it mean?
Oh, yeah.
I told every one of them that same story. Everyone called except for one lawyer. Bob Shapiro never called.
Yeah.
Because he was giving an interview with Diane Sawyer talking about playing the race card. So I was totally convinced because of the timing that the verdict would be not guilty.
But when this happened,
Yes.
because they say the verdict's in 9 minutes later after the readback.
They're going to hold the verdict for the next day.
Oh, wow.
Because of the concerns about riots. This was after Rodney King verdicts.
Yeah, they had to
So they were going to hold the verdict. So that night,
Wow.
I called Johnny. Jay, he had to take the phone in a closet at a wine cellar in Napa. He took my call. Jay, they got a verdict. It was his birthday, October 2nd, 1995.
That's amazing.
He had to fly home to get the verdict. Yeah, so it was amazing.
You know, I have an OJ story. Have I already told you my OJ story? My dad used to own a limo service.
Please.
Okay, a big limo service in LA, and OJ was my dad's client.
See, I've heard a million Morrow stories. I've never heard
OJ was my dad's client. And when I was in law school, occasionally, like if it was like a weekend or whatever, I would drive a limo, you know? And a couple times I drove for OJ.
Okay.
There's no way this is true.
Swear on my mother, okay? Swear on my mother. I picked up OJ one time at LAX. He was fucked up, I can tell you that. OJ liked to drink, because every time I picked him up, he was fucked up. So he's a drinker. But the nicest guy in the world, he had a horse running at Santa Anita when I picked him up at LAX. He had owned racehorses.
Okay.
He had a horse, and I still remember to this day the name of the horse was called Reiterate. He said, we're going to go see Reiterate win this fucking race. I said, okay, OJ, let's go. So we go, he's like, stop here. So we stopped at like some random liquor store, like in Arcadia on the way to the track.
Uh-huh.
He gets out of the car. There's people that reckon, and you have to understand, in LA, at that time,
Yes.
OJ, this was before the internet, before everything.
Correct.
OJ was as big
Correct.
as,
Any
there was
athlete.
no place OJ could not go.
Correct.
Where he wasn't mobbed by fans, and he fucking loved it.
Correct.
Wow.
This son of a bitch, I said, OJ, we're going to miss the race. He's taking pictures, signing autographs for like an hour at some liquor store in Arcadia.
Correct.
I said, OJ, what time's the horse race, man? You can't take a picture with every fucking person in Arcadia, but I had to almost throw him in the limo. He loved people. Every time I was with him, he could not sign enough autographs or take enough pictures.
Correct.
And so he was always real super cool. He always tipped good. And
Always tip good. Well, I mean,
I used to take him to his house in Rockingham.
You
It's
mentioned
incredible, man, that there's an entire generation of people who only know OJ in terms of being charged with 2 murders.
Yeah.
And didn't know how he was the first celebrity that transferred from being an athlete into a commercial icon.
I watch every
Chevrolet,
Naked Gun. Yeah, I'll be
Hertz.
Yep.
You know, all
Like
of that.
like Kanye says when OJ wore isotoners.
And all of that. It was the glove. It was the glove.
Also, Doreen Marino. Jeff Marino.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I always had this feeling about Bob Shapiro, and you mentioned his name, how he was on an interview with Diane Sawyer at the time when the verdict's about to come down. Was he actually part of the Dream Team, or I know he put it together, but is he part of this collective when you go on Highland there and
he was initially, and he did a great job of putting the team together. The thing that made it difficult, however, was he had never tried a murder case before O.J.
Really?
And every one of the other lawyers had tried a murder case before. It's like going to war with a general that had never yet been to war.
When you were federal PD, you tried hundreds of cases.
Correct. Well, not 35 or 40, I had, I'm sure. But every one of us had been through those fires before. And we would meet, Bob, every Saturday talking about the discovery that was coming in. I had 14 notebooks at one point. And you could tell in the questions being asked who was up on the discovery and who was behind. And he was always behind on keeping track of going to Laker games. He was the shit in those days. He'd go to the forum and his face be on the Jumbotron as he walked to his seat.
Yeah, he was big.
He'd go to the Palm restaurant. They would stop and applaud as he walked into the Palm restaurant. December of 1994, Bob Kardashian and O.J. made a change. We had a vacation. We had a Christmas break before trial would start in January, the trial of the century. And Bob Shapiro and his family went to Hawaii on vacation over the Christmas break. And we on the trial team were stunned.
You guys were working.
You guys were starting trial in January in 2 weeks. And it was during that time that Kardashian and O.J. made a decision to change the hub, the headquarters, from Shapiro's office to Cochran's office on Wilshire and Highland. And it was kind of fucked up because he was on vacation and we moved the files from his office to our office.
It also makes sense because you guys, this is the war room. This is where you are.
Yeah, and Johnny was the trial guy. He had tried dozens of murder cases. He was most qualified, singularly, to handle a case of this depth, of this complexity, in downtown Los Angeles, where there was, by chance, a healthily majority African-American jury. And everyone realized and understood the dynamics of race. And before people talk shit, even the prosecutors understood the dynamics of race because they brought on a black prosecutor during that time, Chris Darden, who had not been involved at all, because race, as you both know, is always a circumstance in Los Angeles that you must consider to your peril.
But it is in most jury trials, and one of my good friends, Bryce Ellis from the law firm Rise, who I actually see watching this episode, is one of my best friends. We talk about this because he's seen every one of our trials. We talk a lot about, I just tried a death of a person that was African American and how it's a different, if you're trying a case in Los Angeles where you are, and how you have to consider it at all times. And I've never talked to you about this, but everybody talks about Carl Douglas, if you're in the courtroom, and how astute you are on this subject of being sensitive to it and understanding it.
I'm black. And I've always been black. I'm gonna die black. I don't wanna die because I'm black. So in order for me to be successful in this world I live in, there has to be certain truths that I recognize and I deal with. I don't surrender. I don't talk differently. I do talk differently, depending on who my audience is.
Well, because of Toastmasters and your mom.
No, I do talk differently. I'm mindful of that. But I must consider everything necessary for my client to win in my circumstance. Now, at the same time, I'll bring you on in Orange County.
Yeah.
I'll bring you on in Norwalk.
Sure.
And I do all the time, because I'm a big one, man, on the prayer of serenity. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it's important that I have the courage to do that which I think I should. That's why I am proudly a civil rights lawyer.
Yes.
That's why I am proud. Different than most of your lawyer speakers, 90% of my cases come off the streets.
Yeah, and you do a lot of shit that none of us have the courage to do. We've talked about this because you're doing stuff that you know you're likely to lose those cases, and you don't give a fuck.
Well,
I mean, it's true. I saw you in San Diego recently. Like, he's trying this hard-ass civil rights case in San Diego.
that I lost.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a hard-ass case. And I
Yes,
saw
it
him
was.
coming to the
It
hotel. I
was.
was like,
It was.
I mean, cases you know you're going to lose because you want to change.
If you're not
Civil rights.
losing, you're not trying enough
You
cases.
only try tough cases, one. You only try tough cases, one. Two, and this is a terrible thing to say, I'm a great lawyer, but I'm a terrible businessman. I do shit because I feel it being done. If I don't like you as a client, I'm not taking your case because I won't work Sunday night when I want to do something else on your or Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. You know, I have to have that visceral connection. I don't take a bigger fee than my client's take-home check.
That's true
And when
in our
I say
office. You
that,
never should
people,
do that.
when I say
Should
that,
never do that.
I said it at a seminar and people gasped. They gasped. I'll take every expense dollar, but I will cut my fee so that I do not take more than my client because it looks bad when I do.
And it's the right thing to do. Like,
I
don't know how lawyers, like, they send us, we work with a lot of lawyers, like, refer us cases. We try their case and they try to send us this disbursement to send the
Yes.
client net. It's like, wait, how's that possible? This is not happening on the planet.
I have seen, and I'll big time lawyers who we've discussed in various episodes on this show who tragically have not followed that model on cases that I've had with them. I had one family member, he had another family member, and there are different fee structures, which is
Makes no sense.
sickening to me. Fellas, I survived emergency brain surgery.
Wait, what? When was this?
January of 23. I got 2 holes in my head here, 2 holes in my head here. I had a subdural hematoma. There was blood rushing from my brain into my skull. Fortunately, as a PI lawyer, I was walking in my office and I had drop foot. And I know drop foot is neurological. I'd had a low measured headache for many weeks. And I went to a doctor on a Friday and they were operating on my brain that Saturday afternoon.
Wow.
6 weeks later, I announced ready for trial.
Wow.
My doctor calls me the miracle man. Because of that, my life changed. I enjoy food even more. I don't do shit I don't want to do unless it's with family. In terms of sitting at a meeting that's boring, I'll get up and walk out. You know? I enjoy the value of every day, and I'm big on karma. I will, Morrow, walk to the line and look over. I don't cross it. I walk to it and look over, okay? But because I give praises every day that I'm awake, because it could have been different. I am mindful of my obligations to life and to people. And I pledge every day to make a motherfucker's life better.
I love it.
That's what I do.
I'll drink to that.
Drink
man.
to that, man. That should be a new cheers.
Make a motherfucker's life better.
So one story I got to ask you about, because I've heard fables about this, but
Please.
during that multi-billion-dollar verdict, I heard that the defense was going to call a witness that could hurt your case. Maybe it's an expert, and I heard that you rolled in that day with a purple suit or a loud suit, and the jury couldn't take their eyes off of Carl Douglas and didn't hear a word that I never talked to you about this. I heard this from somebody else. They're like,
Much like my leopard.
imagine wearing a leopard suit into trial, and the jury couldn't take, because you're an enamored person. If you walk into the courtroom, everyone is looking at fucking Carl Douglas. Everybody is. So they want to see what you're doing, what you're actioning on. So I never ask, is this true or not?
What? One, I don't remember. But two, I was trained as a lawyer to control the courtroom.
Yeah.
One. Three, I do have a purple suit. Okay? And I remember that trial, General Motors, Patricia Anderson for General Motors, was at what we called then the bank.
Oh,
Commonwealth.
CCW.
Commonwealth.
Okay.
Been very kind to me, by the way.
There was a 12-week trial, and who can stand and sit for 12 weeks and afford it? City workers, county workers, federal workers, school districts, phone company. The jury was heavily African American. Knowing the jury at the bank would be heavily African American, I'm sure, is the reason Brian and Chris called me to represent the driver of the car to be on the case. Because they played the race card, knowing, as we all knew, that there would be a heavily African American jury. And though I don't remember that day, I do know that I would always wear a purple suit as an appropriate time to
I
impress
love this.
my jury.
I love this.
That sounds much like me.
I love
Yeah.
this.
You know,
Because I used to you have to distract the jury whenever they're doing shit that might hurt your case. So I used to bring out a pad and just draw, or have somebody deliver me papers at the. I just did this last trial. People would deliver me papers in the middle of the direct of the expert, and the jury's looking at me what's going on? They don't hear what's happening over here.
The other story I remember.
That's a good trick.
sometimes I pretend I'm sleeping at the council table.
Yeah.
Before that trial, I
pretend.
remember we turned down $6 million.
Dude, this was 95.
95.
95.
I had never seen a $6 million verdict, and Brian turned down $6 million. Pretty amazing.
Credit to Brian Panache with the greatest trial lawyers, but he's just I was with him yesterday, actually. He is just, he's a personality.
Yeah,
that
he's great.
But he also has a photographic memory. If you give him a file, Brian can pick it up on Friday, know every single fact by Monday, and know it.
It's funny. He likes to send me messages on Instagram, and he always just fact checking everything. I want to see the rest of that pitch. It's if I threw out the first pitch at a game, I didn't see the whole video.
Well, he's big.
I'm doing his voice. I didn't see the whole video. And then Bob will post a video of me playing golf, or I want to see more of that golf swing. I want to see more.
I actually showed him the whole golf swing because he's very impressed by Morrow. Morrow's an athlete. You don't know that.
Very good.
Yes,
Right. Didn't
Looks
know,
like
didn't
an
know.
athlete.
You know what? I remember.
We should do a shot of his calves because
Yeah.
it's there's two humans that are holding his calves together.
I remember
It's
back
like a
when,
perfect
remember
atlas.
the first LATLC kind of casino nights and everything back 10 years ago. Carl's always been a big supporter of LATLC. Bob was former president of LATLC. I'm a emeritus board member. I remember my dad, who I always talk about, I brought my mom and my dad to a few of those first events, And my dad, I say, the old Sicilian guy, born and raised in Sicily, real hard guy, like a blue-collar guy. He loved the O.J. Simpson trial, He watched every fucking minute of it. He was glued to the TV. He loved that shit. It's it was weird. So we went to and Carl comes to the thing, and my dad says, "Hey, that's Carl Douglas." And I never seen my dad starstruck. He's "That's Carl Douglas." My dad was the most hardcore old Italian guy. He didn't give a shit about anything. Could have been Sylvester Stallone. He wouldn't even look at him, but it was Carl Douglas. And I said, "I'm friends with him." And I said, "Oh, bring him over. I want to talk to him." So I went and said, "Carl, man, I hate to bother you, man. Can you say hi to my mom and dad?" And he was like, "Oh," and he goes, Carl, he's not there's never a short conversation. So he goes over and talks to my parents, and man, he made their night, and I'll never forget that. And that was something.
That's awesome.
That was amazing. And my dad's talked about it.
It's amazing, man. Whether you're white, black, conservative, Republican, everyone has always been fascinated with everything O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Whenever someone knows my connection, there's always an enraptured conversation. It's like the whodunit of all whodunits. It's been amazing.
I watched one of these. There's so many OJ documentaries, but there was one where one of OJ's buddies was saying, "Man, we went to some black tie ball or something, and we got there. It was me and OJ, and we didn't have no tickets." And the guy said, "OJ, how are we gonna get in?" And he said, "This is my ticket right here.
Yeah.
My ticket right here."
No, but I watched one.
And I told my wife, I said, for me knowing OJ and having hung out with him and drove him,
True.
that son of a bitch, this was his ticket. They'd see his face. OJ was carte blanche anywhere in LA.
I've gotten into the Hard Rock Cafe in New Orleans, 7 o'clock on a Saturday night with 7 of my buddies with my ticket.
Yeah. But they say that's
Hey,
Carl
listen,
Douglas.
hey, little, seven people at the Hard Rock Cafe in New Orleans. Let's go.
During
Come on
Mardi
in.
Gras.
7 o'clock on a Saturday. Come on in. Let's go. We'll find something for you. It's amazing.
So, Carl, as we wrap up,
Yeah.
I mean, we usually ask the bourbon of proof, but we had tequila, so we know what you're
Absolutely. I love it.
Clase
Absolutely.
Azul. But
I
like,
have 3 of them in my house.
can you ring the bell? I can't do it.
I can't.
No, can't do it. So stop. He's like pawing at his wife. This is what I see when we're on vacation. It's just
Unfortunately,
constant.
it's really bad.
But like you're into. I mean, you've done this for the right passion. Like you were here to help people when you left that job. Were you in DC when you're doing this?
Sure.
Leaving DC to come back to LA just to help people.
Sure.
And you've been driven with that purpose. That purpose. First of all, are you a happy human being?
I tell people every day when they ask me how I'm doing that I'm blessed. I am now 69 years old. Last month, man.
When were you born?
May 8th, 1955.
So my dad was April 16th, 1955.
Bet.
He's very proud to be 69 years old.
I'm very
He tells
proud.
everybody he's 69.
I tell everybody. I tell everybody. I'm so proud.
Carl came to my 50th birthday.
Yes.
I know, I saw him. We
Yeah,
talked.
tell everybody.
I was very happy to see you there, Carl. Thank you for coming.
No, absolutely, man. And at my age, I am never going to retire because there is nothing I can conceive of that would give me the same rush as trying a case. Trying a case is the most fun you can have with a suit and tie on. You can have fun with a suit on, but a tie fucks things up.
I don't like ties. It's
Hey,
Me neither.
so if trying a case is the same rush you get going down a mountain slope, it's the same rush you get driving a car fast on the freeway. I got my Tesla out there. It's the same rush you get singing your name out in lights. And I have not found anything, Bob, that will duplicate the fun that I have of trying cases. I tell people, Kobe was like the Carl Douglas of basketball. I dig the competition. I'm a competition freak. I like preparing crosses of a lion cop. I like practicing a closing argument, though I've never practiced in front of another person except the first time I ever gave one.
You know what's funny? Same thing with me. I hate practicing, and I will never do it in front of anyone.
I have
why.
never
I don't know why. I've never
practiced
done it.
in front of another person
First time I did
except
was-
my first trial I gave, and I had to give to my staff.
My partner, the firm I work for, is like, "Can you do this closing you're going to do?" And I was like, "I did it, and I will never do it again."
Yeah.
I'm the
I don't know
same
why,
way.
but it's
I do it in the mirror or whatever, but I don't want to hear
I
it.
know doing the mirror. I don't know. It's just weird for me. But I mean, it's just empowering to hear this from. I mean, if people are watching or listening to hear Carl Douglas, who's been one of the best trial lawyers for 40 years, that still has the passion. That's the like. I don't ski. I don't do these other things, but it's the same.
It's a rush.
And it's a rush, and you don't. We talked before, but like you were kind enough to drink on this episode. You rarely drink. This is your.
Same destination, different route.
Yeah, but this
I
is
take a
your.
different, same destination. I don't do the alcohol. My father died of alcoholism, so I get there another way. Yeah.
Just trying cases, helping people.
Yeah, that too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And how do you find? We could probably talk like 20 episodes about
for
this
sure.
because this is fantastic stuff. And we love the Grand Walea outfit that you got on.
I like blue. Always blue on camera now. They always say wear blue on camera. They tell you.
Really?
Yes.
don't
It
get
works best.
Here's where fucking tigers.
There you
shit.
go.
And
There you
what does your shirt say? What does it say?
This is Bo Cephas. That's Hank Williams Jr.
One of them's dead. The senior.
That's Hank Sr. Hank
Sr.
Jr. still alive.
Okay, you learned something today.
Yeah. He likes country. It's weird.
God bless.
He just says God bless.
The old 97, I remember.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
he
good.
likes
That's
97.
There you
my
go.
band.
Like 97. Well, Carl Douglas, thank you for coming on. Obviously, this is probably one of the most powerful episodes we've ever done, and we're like very esteemed to have you here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being like a champion for fucking everybody, not even LA, but the country. And
Appreciate you.
We would love to see you across the nation trying cases to help folk.
Thank you
Because,
so much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Another 69 years.
Look forward to it.
yeah, we got to find him the alligator blood to live in.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Carl.
Thanks,
This is
guys.
cheers.
To you.
I'm not going to fill my cup anymore.
Yeah, you keep filling everybody's cup.